Good evening, welcome back. So this evening we're going to be doing a video for my reverb listing. We're going to be talking about the 2010 Gibson Les Paul Signature Buckethead. So they made this a 2010 model only. This is my second one. My first one had the Grover tuners on it, and this one has the Schaller locking tuners. So before we go into any more detail, when I purchased this second one of my viewers decided to school me on this because I knew that there was the first 60 of them that were made with either the Grovers or the Schallards. But since I only had one to compare it to, I had no idea if I had the first or second edition on my first one. Turns out my first one was a first edition. So the one with the Grover tuners on it is one of the first 60 that were produced. And I didn't know any other differences other than that. So Tweekend 27, yeah, I can't even speak. He replied to me and he said, "Beautiful looking guitar, sir. Just looking at it, the guitar you can tell if it's the first 60 edition or one of the remaining 440. Gibson produced a limited first run 60 of these guitars and sent one to various Gibson dealers. The first run of the 60 guitars has three differences from later Buckethead Les Pauls produced. First, it has different binding. First editions featured the Gibson custom binding pattern. This means it has thick white, thin black, thin white, thin black, thin white. The later production ones have a different 4-ply binding consisting of a thick white, thick black, thin white, thin black. The second differences are the tuners. The first production Buckethead Les Pauls have Grover locking tuners, as stated on the website. The newer one comes with the Schaller type, unmarked locking tuner set. Finally, the first editions have an ebony fretboard, while the later ones are rich light. So that's probably one of the reasons I should have done a little more research before I got rid of my first one. But nonetheless, they had a very small production of these. They made it for 1 year in 2010, the Gibson Les Paul Signature Standard with the high gloss finish. They were so popular that they had made a studio version in 2011 and 2012, and it had a satin finish on it with no binding. And in my opinion, it's still a nice guitar, but it does not compare to this one because on the studio versions, the finish rubs off very easily. It doesn't stay on there. I've seen many of them. They chip real easy, they scratch real easy, but I don't have that one. We're talking about the standard right now. So this one is a second edition, and I purchased this one out of Phoenix, Arizona. And it came in the middle of winter time, and it did get some few finish checks in it. When I opened it, I let it sit all night, and it only had a couple finish checks around the edge. And then as it sat here and hung for the last few months, it started to develop some other ones, which every single Gibson on that rack is, well, minus the satin finished one there that's more of an oil rub, but any of these ones that have a high gloss finish, they're all going to finish check over time. So this one here is showing examples of finish checking now. And there are two right here. The one stops in this. The other one runs down to about here. And then this one runs from about here to here. And then over here we got one that runs down and stops about right here. And then we have two running next to each other that run all the way down into this kill switch, and then the other one comes off of the kill switch down here to the edge. And we got another one that starts about right here and it goes down and stops right there. Now, I'm just pointing all this out because I'm being super anal that way, because you can't see this really in pictures and stuff. So I want to make sure whoever's looking at this knows every crack on it, which is a finish check. So up here around here, where the strap lock is, we've got three of them that are running really close together, and they come down. One of them stops here, the other one stops here, and the third one stops there. Right here at the heel, we got a small one that's coming up about 2 inches there. Let's see, down around the bottom, Right here we got one that starts, it comes up, goes to the screw of the input jack. And then we have 3 of them coming out. This one comes along this way and stops here. This one runs into that one, and this one here also gets close to it and it stops. Over here in the cutout, we have 2 small ones that are coming up and around. And then we have one right here on the horn that comes around and then back in. And let's see on the back. There are none on the back yet, but you can see some of the lines of the wood grain. And someday those may start to develop a finish check. There are none on the neck, but there are a couple in the headstock around the tuners going all the way up through the tuners. So now that we have all the finish checks covered, we'll go ahead and talk about the pickups. So they are the 498T and the 500T, or is it the 498R? I'll have to double check on that. I will put it in the listing. But it does have the 500T in the bridge. It does have the coil tap in the bridge, which you can split that, single coil it, both the kill switches, everything on it is original. Nothing has been changed. All the frets are in really good condition. None of them are dented. Headstock's in real good condition. No chips, dings, or chunks missing anywhere around any of the edges or the horns. The same with the body. There's no dings, chips, or gouges anywhere on the body. Again, it's just natural finish checking that are in certain areas that I just pointed out. So what else we have? We have the original case here. And it is just a 4-latch. The interior in it is still in really good shape. I noticed a lot of them have turned really yellow. This one is starting to get a very light tinge of yellow in a couple spots, but nothing to write home about. Inside the case here, which is made in Canada, we have the little oxygen beads that take the moisture out of the case so your guitar don't turn white, which that's already white, but there is the truss rod key, wrench, Gibson owner's manual, the checklist / COA, and the warranty card. So it has all of its original paperwork, its original case. The guitar is 100% original, and there is nothing wrong with this guitar other than it's showing a few finish checks. But it is actually a very beautiful guitar. If you've seen it in person, you really got to look for the finish checks. But I like finish check guitars. Some people don't. My first one didn't have any on it. But hey, it is what it is. They're rare. They're really hard to come by. So it is the second edition. Now here on the back, right here, here, and here, it's starting to cream. That's what the guy, he told me. He likes to hear cream. It sounds better over yellowing. So that's also a natural thing. Any white guitar that you buy from Gibson, over time, it's not going to stay white. It will turn cream / yellowed color. The whole thing will do that. The headstock is in really good condition. But if you are here in person, maybe on the video it might show, it is starting to cream just a little bit, but not near as bad as some of the other ones I've seen. Some examples I've seen where it literally looked like the headstock was painted a completely different color than the rest of the guitar. But there it is, guys. That is my second Buckethead Les Paul, second edition, and it is up for sale on Reverb. If you're interested in this guitar, the link is down below in the description to the Reverb page. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time.